Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hope you're doing great. My name is Dharam Singh, and I'm here with Jason today. As I said, he was program director earlier. He recently promoted to delivery maturity lead for worldwide delivery excellence team in Microsoft. And this is a big jump. And this happened after he got his PgMP and PfMP. So he attended a PgMP bootcamp with me, program with me, from started in May and finish on. He got his PgMP certificate on 17th of August. And later on, he gone all the way and completed his PfMP as well. He got his PfMP on 15th of January. And before he realized, he was given a promotion in Microsoft, and he's looking after the global competency. Another thing about him is he's an active veteran of U.S. Army. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Gardel is result-oriented, project program portfolio manager. He got all the 3 certificates. He's a PgMP, PfMP, PMP. He's a change management specialist, and he got 16 years of proven excellence as a leadership in a project program and portfolio management. So he has conducted many projects, program up to $250,000, $250 million, and he has been doing great. And this is his second appearance on the webinar. Last time he came and joined, talk to you guys in September after his PgMP, and I invited him again. One is because he got PgMP and PfMP. Second is because he has a promotion and he is looking after the competency in the Microsoft. And everybody knows about Microsoft. And if somebody talking about what exactly you need to do to achieve your next career move, that is where Jason is going to talk about the business. Hopefully. Yeah. So now I like to formally introduce Jason. Jason, as I told you, he's working for Microsoft and he is an active Army officer. So, both of these qualities is making me an excellent leader. So, Jason, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, so Dharam, first of all, thank you. And for the team out there, apologize for the internet issues that I was having or the computer issues, but I'm set up now and online. I caught a little bit of what Dharam said. And yeah, like Dharam pointed out, I recently changed roles at Microsoft. I do want to say that was probably directly impacted by my pursuing of the PgMP and PfMP certifications. I missed a lot more of the intro, but I did hear him talk about myself working at Microsoft over the past 5, almost 6 years now, and a little bit of my time in the Army as well. So Dharam, I'll leave it at that because I think you introduced me rather well. And I know you have a number of questions for me, as does the audience. So thank you.
Yeah. So once again, guys, thank you for staying with us. And yes, the problem is fixed now. And I will have lots of questions for you. And I will also take a question from audience as well. We have a couple of questions from audience already, so we'll talk about that. So the people who don't know me, my name is Dharam Singh, and I have been training PgMP, PfMP, PMPs, and various agile trainings. And I own a company called vCareProjectManagement. Initially, or my second half of my life was in Australia. So I spent 22 years in Australia, and roughly 2 years ago, I came to US, and the majority of time spent in my home. And I did some travel initially. Last travel I did to Saudi Arabia. That was February 2020. That's it. And then COVID hit, and we are in our cages, moving around, but we don't have that much freedom. So it is a tough time. I think we are feeling that we are coming out of the COVID. I hope so, with the vaccination happening around the world. So looks like COVID may be the history, but we cannot take this so lightly. While you may be immunized or vaccinated, but please look after yourself. Make sure you still put a mask on and everything. Whatever you have to do to look after. So I know I don't have to say anything more because you have been listening these statements or these requests from everywhere. So, Jason, once again, welcome. This is my second opportunity to invite you or have you in this webinar. Last time you came in September, October, and you're very generous to share your knowledge and experience. And that was more after you came out from PgMP. But this time I invite you because you have a role change, and that you mentioned already. This is the direct result of your certifications.
Yeah.
Often people ask me, Dharam, what's the point of doing PgMP, PfMP? I'm already PMP. You know, what I'm going to gain out of that? Will I get promotion or not? I mean, I tell them, look, this all depends on many factors. But these certificates are enablers. If you can utilize them, or you do your sales side, and you market yourself properly, you will get results. Don't assume that people will come and just give you promotion. You know, Jason was lucky that his management saw that he got now some special skills. He got promoted, but it doesn't happen all the time like this. But you need to get right certificate, right mindset, right opportunities has to come. And you never know. The sky's the limit. So, Jason, thank you. And anything else you'd like to say before we get started?
No, I think I'm all set. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. And today we have a packed agenda and lots of questions for you, Jason. And hopefully we'll offer lots of value to our people, our friends around the world.
Yeah.
And I do have some special offers which I will be releasing a little later in the program. And also you will get a PGU. So you will get one PGU from this program. So you have to listen up to the last minute. So yes, and also people who are watching the video, you will able to get the video as well. All right. All set. Good. And let's get started. So, Jason, as I said, I have lots of questions for you, and let me get started. So, my first question for you is shifting. Does the shift in strategic goal result in subsequent change in portfolio scenario? I think it's a little technical side, but if the shift in strategy goals, organizational strategy goals are changing, how it is impacting the portfolio, and if so, detail how a portfolio manager can manage such a change without affecting deliverables or the timeline.
Yeah, so I would say that, depends on many things. Many things can lead to a change in the portfolios. It could be a change in the strategic goals, but that's not always a given either, right? Like you mentioned earlier, I work for Microsoft, and we experienced a reorganization about 9 months ago. Many of our projects and programs in our services organization, even after that change, they stayed the same, right? Our goals and our objectives stayed the same as well. However, receiving a continuous feedback loop and a review of our processes and tools and how we've grown in the business with larger scale projects, that's kind of driven not necessarily a change in our portfolio, but a change in the internal tools and processes and the updates that we're making to that. So that's led to an implementation of business priorities that are going to modify our processes and tools and align with those requirements as we expand the business. And right now, the expansion of our business is focused on how we drive and deliver big programs at Microsoft for our customers.
Okay. And do you think COVID has impacted positively or negatively to the Microsoft business?
I'm sure it has. I focused primarily on the federal space, and I didn't see much reduction. I think a lot of our customers, at least in the federal space when I was there, understood the limitations that we had, and we found ways to still deliver for them, and they found ways that they could accept things that we could deliver to add value to their business while still doing things remote, right? I mean, we very seldomly did on-site activities just because of what COVID has brought us to.
Yeah, and probably it has increased, maybe given extra benefit business to Microsoft because everybody's using computer nowadays, and so that maybe the positive side.
Yeah.
Anyway, good. Thank you. And so my next question is: sustaining the success of a portfolio depends on a lot of factors. We know that, and now we're going through PfMP. You know that.
Yep.
Name a few that you believe is vital to achieving the strategic objective of the organization.
Okay, yeah, I'd say the key here is, communications, how those strategic objectives, are communicated and delivered down to our teammates leading the projects and programs in the field, right? As a project manager or program manager, being familiar with the strategic goals and objectives of the organization and your customers' goals and objectives can become crucial in leading to more business down the road. It's a key way to finding out opportunities for our customer, getting them back to, or getting that communicated back to the account team or sales team or leadership team with follow-on discussions with customers to see what else we can do to impact your business.
Yeah.
Right? Oftentimes I see the strategy not communicated well to the field, or just other opportunities where we could expand on it. Sometimes it'll be posted in an internal portal or sent in a newsletter. And again, I'm not speaking how we deliver it at Microsoft. I'm just saying over the companies I've worked for in the past and speaking with my peers, this is what I have seen as potential outcomes. The real adoption and the understanding of the strategy comes between that portfolio manager and the project and program managers delivering in the field, right? And businesses all operate in different ways, but in ways very similar. In that portfolio manager could be the people manager of project and program managers. It could be an account or salesperson that's in a leadership position, or if maybe you're in an organization that has a traditional portfolio manager, it could be delivered that way. I would say that a second factor to sustaining the success of the portfolio is the initial alignment of those key performance indicators with the strategic goals and objectives. Along with that, defining those KPIs will be met. How those KPIs will be measured for success, and evaluating the success of the projects and programs against that specific success criteria. During those governance review boards that you have.
Good. Thank you. And guys, you have opportunity to ask questions, and I will take the question and whenever it feels the right time or in the end of this session. So, Jason, I have another question. And how can a professional abandon their comfort zone? Most of the time, we are sitting in the comfort zone. There's just life going on. What can we do to come out of the comfort zone? And whether continuous learning is the way forward for future project management professionals?
Yeah, and Dharam, you and I have kind of discussed this topic a few times as I approached my PgMP and PfMP.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough, how important it is to have that growth mindset and be a continuous learner. Looking back 6 years, I unfortunately had the opportunity to take my PMP exam not once but twice, right? Now, I could have remained in my comfort zone, not taken it a second time, not challenged myself, but I did the opposite, right? I challenged myself, and when it came to taking on a program level leadership role at Microsoft, I then felt it was also important to pick up that understanding of the methodology behind the execution of my role. So I pursued the PgMP. From there, again, I took another step outside of my comfort zone and immediately moved into studying for the PfMP certification. I see me going after those 3 certifications was very strategic in landing a role of where I wanted to be, right? And ultimately, I thought that my path would have been much longer to this role, but luckily timing really hit at the right time for me. And my current role at Microsoft is to help define, guide, and change and improve and update the tools and processes that we use to deliver for our customers. So for me, you know, following the route of obtaining these certifications, gaining that knowledge, and then being able to bring that to the table at an interview was very productive.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned that you got PMP in June last year?
No, 6 years ago.
Oh, 6 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
And that you that was self-study. Looks like it was self-study, and
you know, it's hard to look back, but I went through a 1-week course, and then after that 1-week course, I was on my own to conduct whatever studying I saw fit, and then go into the exam.
Yeah. And with PgMP, PfMP, of course, I was with you on your journey, and you passed the PgMP exam and even PfMP exam with above target.
Right.
In your first attempt.
Yes.
So the question, the obvious question is, do you think I was any contribution to you?
Yeah, I absolutely think you were. You know, I mean, when I look at it, my PgMP, we set up a one-on-one mentorship session, right? So when I compare what we did for my PgMP to what we did or what I did with another person 6 years earlier for my PMP, the PMP was a crash course. It was 40 hours. It was done, and I was on my own. You know, when I worked with you, we went as fast or as slow as I needed to as your mentee, the person being mentored. You know, and at times we would do 1 chapter per week. At times we would do a couple chapters per week. But that enabled me to spend the same amount of time that I spent on my PMP, but we took bits and pieces of it, made sure that I was knowledgeable in it, made sure that I learned it, so that when it was time to go to the exam, I was more prepared.
Yeah, and I noticed, you know, the board behind you, there were lots of charts behind you all the time, and you were very, very prepared and very, very structured. And you used to come to the session with lots of you know, very intelligent questions. So that discussion was, I think, very, very important for you to keep building your knowledge. So,
yeah, that interaction was key, right? I mean, you know, the bottom line is you're not going to learn something in a crash course of 40 hours, right? There's just way too much information. So being able to break it down into chapters of the standard of program management was very impactful.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Yeah, thank you for opting me as your mentor. I know probably many choices, but you selected me, and I'm honored to be part of your journey. Fantastic. Okay. I think I have a question very relevant. George is asking, is it easy to upgrade the PMP to PgMP?
Say that again.
Is it easy to upgrade, because you are PMP, from PMP to PgMP? Do you feel it's easier to do that way?
It's a tough answer for 2 reasons. One, I took the PMP 6 years ago and the PgMP within the last year, right? So all of the PgMP stuff is really fresh in my mind. Additionally, I approached it in 2 completely different ways. The PMP, like I mentioned, I did a crash course, 40 hours, and then I was left to my own to study for as long as I needed and then take the exam, right? Where the PgMP, you know, Dharam and I sat down week by week, focused on a chapter, maybe 2, and then identified my strong sets and improved on those, and I identified my weak areas and made sure that I maintained that as a focus.
Yeah. And to add on top of it, you know, it definitely adds value to move from PMP to PgMP, especially you already gone through the experience of PMI exam. You know what kind of question, not but the type of environment you go through, and also you already learned the PMBOK, whether 3 years ago, 6 years ago, doesn't matter. But I have seen many people when they come fresh to do the class. Actually, they are even better, because they are not coming with a baggage of a PMBOK Of course, you have to learn PMBOK, no doubt at all. But you will be learning fresh, and you will be looking everything from the program manager point of view, which makes a difference when you go for a PgMP exam. And yeah, so in my session, I do give a list of topics you should be familiar with. You should know that. So that will all, instead of reading the 600, 700, 800 page book, you just have to read few chapters of few topics. So right. Obviously, yeah, having PMP will add more value, but not having a PMP can also, it's not going to be a showstopper. I've seen many people going through directly with no prior experience of any certificate doing PgMP and PfMP.
Yeah, and you touched on it earlier, but that's exactly why I continued from my PgMP directly into the PfMP, right? I didn't want to put the books down and not study for a year or two or whatever it may be. I wanted to keep that momentum and tackle that next pursuit as well.
All right, so I'm getting other question, but I will take little like, okay, let's see. If PMBOK guide is relevant study material for PgMP, definitely, but not word to word and line by line. There are a few things which I normally tell in my class, and that is coming from experience of teaching so many people. Having 322 PgMP from 44 countries, so I can feel proud that whatever I'm telling you is coming from my experience working with so many people. So yes, PMBOK is required, but not just like you read for a PMP exam. Is there anything on top of it?
No, I think definitely in alignment there.
Yeah. All right. And if you have any doubt or something, please contact me, or I will definitely help you with that. Okay. So next question, Jason, is my question. Okay. Let's talk about the career advancement. So unfortunately, career advancement for many highly skilled professionals might be blocked by their inability to communicate their value and effort to the organization effectively. They want you to do, but they were not able to justify to the organization. So what do you think? How can a professional negate this gap and shape their professional brand within the organization and within the industry? What can we do?
Yeah, I would say I believe the best way to approach this is through giving back to the community, right? So become a mentor of those around you. It's going to help you build your brand. Also, find the right people inside the organization in which you want to work in, right? So align yourself as both that mentor and the mentee in that space, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't necessarily mean the person that could potentially hire you down the road. And actually, I would probably not pursue that person as your mentor or mentee, but pursue those around that individual that are delivering in that space to align with. Build your brand there. Gain mentorship opportunities with them, whether you're mentoring some people or they're mentoring you. And I think that'll go a long way with aligning you with the needs of the business and drawing out that roadmap of how you can best connect and deliver success for that area of the business.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, because if you're talking to the management, they probably don't see the value. Why you want to spend money and time on PgMP or PfMP? They themselves are not. They don't know the value at all. So you probably have to spend some time to do some investigation, propose, and just like in a business case. So then why organization like Microsoft or any big organization or small organization will get the value from this certificate, not from the sake of having certificate, but the learning you're going to have from this certificate will help to do the job better. Some companies are winning more businesses because of you getting certificates. People like Jason get a promotion, and now Jason is working with so many project program portfolio manager within Microsoft to deliver or to increase their competency and get them certified as well. So I know Jason is in touch with me to somehow I can also help them. So it's you have to build your brand, you have to build your justification, you need to have your business case, show them the value they will get from you getting PgMP, PfMP. You have to find that way. And if you are in doubt, we can always talk.
Yeah, Dharam, like you mentioned, we're standing up a mentorship program at Microsoft specifically around program management, right? And a lot of the information that we'll be, discussing in that mentorship program will be the ideas out of the standard of program management. And, as you mentioned, we had partnered on that. And, those people that go through that mentorship program will actually be using, I believe it's your question bank, to gauge their understanding of the domains of the standard of program management, right?
Yep.
And our primary goal isn't necessarily to get people certified, because we're not teaching the entire course of standard of program management. We want to get people familiar with it so that it can immediately start impacting the success of our deliveries for our customers.
Yeah, and guys, this is reflecting how large organizations are seeing this certificate. Traditionally, PMP was one of the favorite certificates for project managers, even any of the roles. But now, like Microsoft, and if you do a Google search or maybe LinkedIn search, you'll find companies like Facebook, Amazon, and many big organizations. They are actually putting ads for PgMP and PfMP. And if I do a search on LinkedIn now, I'm probably going to see more than 1,000 jobs in United States asking for PgMP. And this trend is growing. Every time I do a search, it's actually going upward. So having more than 1,000 jobs with PgMP, and there are only limited people with PgMP in the United States, like I said, actively looking for jobs, probably 100 or 200 with PgMP. And that gives you extra edge. And make you special. And of course, your certificate is important, but your many other things are also important.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So next question: how to develop a strategy for your choice of professional certification and align it with your career plan? So,
yeah. So for myself, I identified where I wanted to be, in my career in the business, and I started pursuing knowledge that aligned with the required skill sets of the roles that aligned with that. And the certifications were just validation that I obtained the knowledge, right? I certainly have a wish list for continued learning, but I'm not sure how far I'll pursue that, right? Achieving my PgMP this past summer and then the PfMP in the winter, I certainly started to feel the impact of those accomplishments, right? And as a result, I put together an assessment of the remaining PMI certifications to try and gauge, what else do I want to pursue, and what is the benefit of pursuing those. And in the immediate future, I could see pursuing my PMI ACP, which we do have a mentorship program in Microsoft as well. I see value there because we are pushing this idea of leading edge delivery, and we want to have, as needed, we want to have Agile in every project and program. So I think that's my next step. But it goes back to aligning my certifications with the impact and where I want to be in the business, right? And right now, the impact that I want to make is changing our processes and procedures to align with PMI's existing methodologies. So that's my focus right now, and that's what I would recommend for the team out there looking at what certifications to pursue is, where do you want to be in 2, 5, and 10 years?
Yeah, perfect. I mean, you probably know PMI has announced the other program like DA program, Discipline Agile, DSM, DSSM, and Agile is also like Scale Agile already popular. So we do actually, good thing is that this year we have become the bronze partner with Scale Agile for delivering the safe programs, safe trainings. So that's one thing we have added. We have also gone into the DA programs as well. Myself got certified for DSM and I have to do exam for DSSM. I've attended a training myself. So we are building those competencies as well. Hopefully, we will add more and more value to Microsoft or other organizations by our Agile training. Okay, perfect. Okay, let me ask you a few other questions. What are pre and post challenging scenario of becoming certified program management professional? And the impact, we have been talking about impact in your career path.
Yeah, I would say having the certifications definitely helped, right? We talked about my role change earlier, and it wasn't necessarily a promotion. I had received a promotion at Microsoft about a year or two back, but this was more or less a move that I decided to make and pursued making just so that I can make a different impact on the business, right? But I would say that the biggest challenges I see is that, as you mentioned earlier, the adoption of the standard of program management, we only have, 3,500 people worldwide certified in that. So when I bring an idea to the table that's specific to the methodology, the business right now is specifically looking at me of, all right, you're in charge of driving changes in the methodologies and driving adoption, but it goes beyond that. I need to drive adoption of the methodology from PMI, not necessarily the methodology that I'm building, right? The methodology that I'm supporting and building with, of course, a team of people, that is going to be the basis that's tied to the standard of program management. But the hardest part about all this is getting, a number of people educated and informed on the standard of program management so that when they're using the information that the team and I are providing, they have a better understanding of why it's aligned like that, right?
I am getting a question from audience here from Berto. I hope I pronounced properly. Umberto. So what would be your advice for a person that wants to get the PgMP? What do you think was the most challenging part of the PgMP exam?
So advice, find the right mentor. If you need one, speak with Dharam. He definitely was successful in helping me. The hardest part, that's a tough one.
I think the hardest part was get to, the application.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, yeah, it is, right? Because that's the upfront hard work, right? The rest of it is, how many times you read the standard of program management, how many times you study your note cards. Maybe the biggest change from projects to programs would be, where you start to get into strategy alignment and benefits management, because those things are not as pursued or as clear in the PMP or as present. That they are present, but they're not specific areas that it's focused on, right? So I would say just removing yourself from the alignment of the PMP and focusing solely on the PgMP content.
Yeah, and also, please feel free to book some time with me. I will be more than happy to help you out, give you all the things which you need to know. What exactly you have to do to prepare for exam. Whether you are my student or going to be my student or not, doesn't matter. You feel free to book some time. Right. So, yes, and many people try to do self-learning. It's not a bad thing. So whether self-learning can help for successful completion of certification, and what advantage do you see, or advantage or disadvantage do you see in self-learning and pursuing professional certification?
Yeah, and again, everyone's different. Everybody studies in a different way. I look back at the earlier conversation we had about my opportunity to take the PMP twice, and that I did not approach that in the manner of the way that I did the PgMP. So I would say the benefits of the way I approached the PgMP is, I had a one-on-one mentor. We took it slow. We focused on one chapter at a time and really focused on what I was doing well and what I could improve, right? And once we identified what I could improve, we focused on those items, we improved it, and then we moved on to the next chapter or section or group of chapters that we focused on. I would say that's the right approach. I would say at least for your first certificate or at least for your next certificate, focus on that one-on-one mentorship. You know, Dharam and I worked together on the PgMP and set up a successful way to study for the PgMP. When it did come to the PfMP, I pursued a different route where instead of meeting with Dharam every week, I would review his videos, and then if he and I had any questions or exchanges, we would exchange via email, right? And that was because he already set me up for success in how to study for an exam like this, and he had confidence in me that I could pursue that through the same way that we did the PgMP. So I did a little bit more self-study, but I still used his content layout. I still used his question bank to gauge my knowledge. And then I also used a book that he recommends by Dr. Levin to also dig in and gauge my response to the much harder questions.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I mean, I give an analogy here. Like if you want to go, if you want to climb a mountain, there's two ways you can do. One is watch lots of videos and do lots of reading, talk to many people, and you feel that I can do this. And a second is if you go to Nepal and talk to some Gorkha, the people who help in the climbing, they have done many climbs together with other people. They know the pitfalls, they know how to get the climb better, what to do, what not to do. So having a right mentor versus self-study, the mentor can find, of course, focus on your strengths and also the weaknesses. What can we do to cover your weaknesses, and keep building your knowledge on top of it. Any pitfalls, anything that you feel like that I will identify or assist, just like Jason mentioned. So self-study is great, but sometimes it's too much time consuming. And moment you have something happen in your office or family, you get sidetracked, and coming back is also very challenging. I've seen that happening. Jason, you tried my recorded program as well. You were successfully completed, you were focused. But I've seen people buying my recorded program just because it's cheaper version, cheaper option. But I call them after 6 months or 1 year. They said, Dharam, I got busy. I'm very busy. I'm not able to focus. I will come back to you later when I'm ready. So that's where the pitfall is. You get sidetracked because of other things, and coming back becomes challenge. And you think that you have the material, you can do it anytime, and that anytime is no time. That doesn't happen then.
I definitely experienced that during my PfMP studies, right? When you and I didn't have that average call or that recurring call on Thursday,
yeah,
if I didn't have the discipline, I could take a break, right? And I did. I took a few breaks, right? There were the elections in the United States, and of course, the news runs 24/7 about that, and so that grabbed my attention. And for 3 days straight, I wasn't studying. And when you get back to it, it's not just pick up. You were on page 50, now you're on page 51. You need to back up. You need to kind of refresh, gain that better understanding, and you don't just lose the 3 days that you didn't study. You lose the days where you need to refresh and get your mind back into it.
Exactly. And good. Great. I have a question from a UK perspective. Have you looked at MSP, also called Managing Successful Program? This is what I know, but PgMP much different. All right. So, do you know anything about MSP? Yes, sir?
I don't have much knowledge on that. No.
So I have while I was in Australia is using these MSP and Prince 2 certification, especially in the government organization. So I do know the MSP. I can talk about comparison between MSP and PgMP. MSP is much easier to gain as a certificate. You attend the 4 days class, and the second day you do foundation exam, and the 4th day or 5th day you do the practitioner exam. So in the class, they keep talking about repeating the same thing again. So most likely will pass the exam. And but how much you learn in that process, it's always doubtful. And also, second is there is no specific criteria. Of course, they can also put as a principle as a certification required, but there's no specific requirement that you have to have that certificate, and that's why you can start. But for PgMP, it's a very rigorous process. First, to come to the point, eligibility point, you need to have certain number of hours or years of certificate experience. Then panel, the question for the panel review, describing your, the program experience, all adds more to the complexity. And then your 2 or 3 months of hard preparation, then you get a certificate. And in this whole process, unlike in MSP, I'm not criticizing MSP just like that, because I mean, MSP is great because it's being used in UK or some other country. But the learning you'll gain from PgMP in this 2, 3, 4 months is going to be much more compared to what you learn in 3 or 4 days of a class. And as Jason mentioned, in the PMP he did and 4 days class, it's great. You learn faster, everything is done. But many times by the time you finish your learning, half knowledge already out. And unless you are very structured and focused, it's difficult to continue with that knowledge. But both certificates are great. It depends on what your organization is asking for, where you want to go. Let's say MSP restriction is if you are working in UK, working in some European countries, or let's say Australian government or New Zealand government, great. They will ask for it. But otherwise, if you want to move around the world, want to go to US or Canada or other countries, you probably have to think about having PgMP as a better option. Okay. All right. So let me take another question for you, Jason. What is the value in reality do organizations give to the professional certificate?
When you say professional certifications, are you focusing on the PMP, PgMP, PfMP?
I mean, let's say any certificate. Let's not restrict ourselves. Yeah. Any certificate, are they giving value, and what value they're giving nowadays?
Yeah, I would say for the PMP, I see it as almost a bare necessity if you're going to be delivering projects within a large organization, right? So, the requirement might not be that you come to the organization with the certification, the PMP, but obtaining it in a short amount of time afterwards. If you're going to be a project manager, it's bare minimum that you should come to the table with, right? In regards to the PgMP, PfMP, again, I look at the adoption of that methodology growing quite rapidly, but the numbers are still small, right? We're 3,500 for the PgMP, just over 1,000 for the PfMP. So you're not going to see a ton of job recs that absolutely require it, but bringing that with you to the table, it gets your foot in the door, right? The new role that I took on, they were specifically looking for someone that could be the driver and the subject matter expert for methodologies, right? So having those certifications was extremely helpful. While not all of them were documented in the requirement, the fact that I came with them was, I think, an added bonus, and it at least got me a foot in the door at the interview, right? But I think businesses are expanding, and I think we're really going to start, or I should say, expanding their mindset around those certifications, and I really do think we're going to someday see the requirement of the PfMP on a job rec out there one day.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's actually PgMP, as I said, more than 1,000 jobs at the moment on LinkedIn for US. So you cannot expect anything better. Sooner this will, as you might correctly imagine, it will become a mandate or compulsory certificate. Currently, generally you see good to have. I mean, that's okay. But the advantage is if they ask good to have, desirable. If you have that certificate, you are in the already better placed.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me take a question here. What degrees or formal education does Jason have? Wow. Okay. I have diploma, a degree, and master's in engineering management from 2 universities. Would you say the qualification better than a PgMP? Okay, Jason.
So I think I got most of that. I have a bachelor's degree from Eastern Michigan University that I obtained about 16, 17 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And what was the second part of the question? Was
so having your certification, degrees, and would you say the qualification better than the PgMP? All these qualifications?
That's tough to answer only because of my, what I've done over the last 17 years, right? So, the accomplishment of my bachelor's degree enabled me to become an officer in the Army. All those experiences around operations and projects helped me become a project manager after the fact. Then I obtained my PMP and then joined Microsoft, where I started to take on larger deliveries and got my PgMP and PfMP. I would say that it was more the activities that occurred in my life that led to where I am today. I don't know if I put any more or less weight in comparison between the bachelor's degree and the certifications, right? I would maybe ask a hiring manager, but then again, you're going to get different feedback from that, right? We see people hired in as project and program managers that have a degree and don't have a degree. We have people hired in as project managers and program managers that have the certifications and don't, right? Having credentials like that might increase your opportunity to get to the interview. But it's what you do at the interview and the experiences that you bring with you and the impact that you can make on a business that's going to get you the job. So it's a hard one to answer. I don't know if one's more important or less important than the other, right?
Yeah, that's right. And to add on top of it, so all these certificate, degrees important and bring you up to one point. And let's say you're applying for a program manager role or project manager role. PMP is almost mandatory. Any job you go for as a project manager, they use a filter. If you don't have project PMP, for example, for that role, you will not picked up for the interview at all, for next round of selection. And now PgMP also becoming that way. The recruitment companies are using this filter to minimize those applications. They get hundreds of applications. They cannot see all of them. So how to restrict? How to see only the relevant application? They use the filter such as PMP or PgMP or Prince2 or ACP, all these kind of things. So, and I do get people who are already accomplished and doing PhD. Several people doing PhD, even doing masters and MBA. MBA, they are doing MBA or done MBA, or they've done certification or degrees from one of the, even Harvard and Stanford. These people come and do PgMP, PfMP. I used to think that I should go other way around, but they are coming here, so that means PMI is doing something better.
Yeah.
All right. I hope this answers you, sure. Right. I will come back to the questions. I think we have been talking about this question. Let me see. Whether acquiring project program portfolio management skills through PMI certification help you to expand your knowledge and improve your abilities to handle complex project program and portfolio.
Yeah, I would say it certainly has, right? When you look at the governance thought processes that come out of the methodology, it's just much easier to follow a process than to create the process yourself, right? I understand there's a lot of people that can scale quickly and easily from delivering a project to delivering a program, not have any of the formal training or background. In a way, I did that, right? I joined Microsoft. I led a small to medium-sized project. That project grew into a program, and then I took on a different role at Microsoft where I primarily focused on programs, and I did not have the certification. Once I obtained the certification, I looked back at what I had done in the past, and I said, all right, we got by, we were successful. Microsoft was successful, the customer was successful, our delivery team was successful. However, I would have done that a whole bunch of different ways because I have the knowledge now.
Yeah.
So if you can put forward the investment, gain the knowledge, you know, I have the feeling that your risk management and issue management might be far easier once you understand the methodology behind the delivery that you're delivering.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, as we have been saying that certifications are great to have, but knowledge from those certificates is more important.
Yep.
So, yeah, so that definitely helps you to do your job better. Complex project program, yes, definitely. All right, so let me release the video code. I already released that code on the chat, so please note the claim code and the course identifier. And let me read out again for the people who are watching it, this audio video. So the course identifier for this program is PMEXP, P for Peter, dash JG, Jason Gardel, dash 02. So this is second program. So PMEXP dash JG dash 02. And the PMI PDU code is T998, P for Peter, 90BSQ. Let me repeat. 3998 P 90BSQ. So you all already have people watching at the moment. You have the code on your chat. You can take a note of that. So that doesn't mean we are finishing the program. We still have a few questions to go, and I hope Jason you can stay a bit more with us.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of audience questions which are given to us previously. I like to talk about them, and I have some questions from audience at the moment. So
okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about the job market. How to assess the job market need and individually fit the needs of the market. So what job market looking for and how can it fit? Can you share your strategies and tips, whether waiting for right opportunity or indeed chasing it would be your suggestion? Are you getting that?
Yeah, you know, I would never recommend sitting back and waiting for an opportunity to come your way, right? You know, I would definitely take a proactive approach and chase after the opportunities of where you want to deliver success, be it for the business you're in or a different organization or different company. But I would never wait for that to come to you, right? And it goes back to one of your other questions about aligning yourself with the right mentors, right? You know, draw out your roadmap, draw out where you want to be in that job market, identify how you want to be successful or what impact you want to make on the business, and what the roles and responsibilities are of some of the roles tied to people that are making that area of success or impact, and then start pursuing that, right? And if it's internal to your organization, even better, because you can easily find mentors and you can easily find people within the structure and build relationships with them. You know, obviously that becomes much harder when you start looking outside of your own organization, right? And it's tough to do through job recs too, because, you know, a job rec could be posted for a project manager, but you might be delivering a project for another organization. You might be a quality assurance project manager where you're just reviewing the processes and the adherence to those processes. Or you could be a project manager that is, you know, building the capability that other project managers use to deliver to. So really tough to find out where you want to be through a job rec. Much easier by building relationships with the people that are already in that role or in that atmosphere of the company you want to be in.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Jason. I do have a few more questions from audience. So I will take them, but before I do that, I'd like to announce a couple of opportunities or discounts for people. So people who are joining today or listening this video, if you do decide to join any of our project programs like PMP, PgMP, PfMP, ACP, RMP, even DA programs as well, Scale Agile, I'm offering $100 discount, and all the registration up to 10th March, you will get that opportunity to contact me, and I will give you the discount code. So that's one. Second is, I know because Jason yourself is a army person. I like to recognize our friends and families around the world, whether US or outside of US, whoever working for Navy and Air Force or Army. I like to give them 20% discount for any of our courses for entire 2021. So if you are watching this later in the year, you have not missed out. You have opportunity to still join my program or our programs and save 20% on this. And all other thing is, other than our friends in Army, and I already announced the women professional. The women professional who want to decide to join our program, you have that opportunity, same opportunity, and also physically disabled and people going through financial constraints. I like to offer the same opportunity to people. Please reach out to me, and you can tell me this is a category I like to get a code for, and I will also give you 20% discount. So, of course, more you can talk about our programs and video. You put a comment and something, and say, Dharam, I like to benefit from any of these discounts. You can't mix and match. Like, let me take $100 as well as 20%. It's going to be one way, one or other. So see which one is going to better fit for you, and send an email out, or you can book a meeting with me. I'll be happy to help you out with that. Anything I can help you. If you are really dealing with this, some constraints, financial constraints, you lost a job, I will be happy to give you some interest-free payments as well. So I have done for many people. I like to offer you guys to anyone looking for that. So anything I can help you from my side and my company, we will do that for you, especially in this COVID time. All right, Jason, I'm not going to let you go. I have lots of questions. So this is a pre-provided question. This is for Amy Lempa from Chicago. How do you continue to improve your PM skills? Please, tips for multitasking and staying on top of multiple fast-paced projects. How do you handle managing projects with no set delivery date? So I put so many questions.
Yeah.
One question. So first, PM skills, multitasking, and how to deliver with no delivery date.
Yeah. I want to take that multitasking one first.
Yeah.
The best way to multitask is just not multitask. A lot of people claim to just be able to be doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things at once. They might be proficient at that. I am terrible at that. If I'm working on something and I get an email, if I go over and chase that email to respond to it and go right back to where I was at in whatever I was working on, again, just like in the studies, when you take a step away, I need to take that step back. I need to reread what I was writing and then continue writing. I really do feel that the best way to be productive is uninterrupted work. So if you have an opportunity to shut down the multitasking, I think at the end of the day, when you look at the collection of what you've completed, it'll be far more extensive than if you enabled yourself to be distracted and focus on emails, then focus on a chat that came in, and then continue, right? What were the other parts of that one?
Yeah, so one of them is about improving PM skills.
Yeah, just, on the job, I'd say training, right? It's not, I would say on the job experience, right? Just as you have challenges come across your plate, that's, one of the best ways to pick it up. I know we see a lot of links or a lot of posts on LinkedIn saying, take a job that you don't know if you'll be able to do it, right? Because that's how you grow, that's how you challenge yourself. If the job's easy and it's a repetitive process, then, find something that challenges yourself. I think that's how you improve your PM skills.
Yeah. And the third question is within the same question is, how do you handle managing managing projects with no set delivery date? Wow.
It's a hard one. I didn't know that existed. Is that by definition a project, right?
I think we can think of when we are delivering a benefit instead of a set dates. You may say, the organization may say, look, we are looking for achieving this benefit.
Yep.
The focus is not on the delivery date. Focusing is to deliver the benefit.
Yeah, with that mindset around it, of course, you would stand up projects that support the delivery of that benefit, and just based on discussions with the stakeholders or the customers, whether that be an internal customer, external customer, you start to define that date. But I would say as a project manager or a leader of a project or program, even if you don't have a defined end date, you still have to define that in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not a contractual deliverable, right? You still have to define the end date so that you can continue to pursue down a path of completion, right?
Yeah, exactly. So even if they're not asking for date, but you should have a date in your mind. Otherwise, it's a moving post. You cannot achieve one. Hard to achieve it. Just like I see that all the time with PgMP, PfMP, and people are not giving the dates, and they keep moving the dates month after month. I said, what's happening? Oh, that I'm busy. I will be doing it next month. And believe me, that by the time they realize their eligibility already gone or about to finish, and then they are in rush. Anyway. All right. So I have another question from Abdullah from Saudi Arabia. Do I build strategic plan on the current culture of the company or on changing the current culture to suit the strategic plan and its realization?
It sounds like in that question, part of the change that is being delivered in the program is the culture, right? Because I don't know if you would. Yeah, that's a tough one. I would always align it to where leadership wants to be.
Yeah.
So if the future culture is different than the current culture, I would try and wrap the existing program and strategy around what the culture will be, right? Yeah, that would be, I guess, my opinion of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. We need to align project program, portfolio managers need to align themselves with the organization strategic plan and the culture, and see if there's opportunity to improve the culture. And that's where the change management part comes in. All right, so we probably have another 100 questions to go. Not my question now. I am looking for the audience question. I'll take the start. I wonder why PMI call itself Project Management Institute. Look, they started from the project management long time back. 90 years, 69. They at the time it was the project management mindset, and over the years they've grown from project to program, portfolio, and everything. But they kept this as a name, as a brand. So I guess they don't want to change it to something Agile Management Institute, something which can do. There are several things happening, but if the brand is working, why you want to change it?
Yep.
All right. So another question: can we say the credentials such as PgMP and PfMP are icing on the cake? Icing being the true taste of the cake.
I guess you could say that, right?
Yeah.
Really anything to make yourself better is icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
We all bring a value and a skill to the workplace, and anytime that I guess you can add more icing to the cake, you provide yourself an opportunity to just provide a bigger impact to the business. So yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Come Agile. Okay. Agile do have a defined end date of site and final product state. So in that case, Agile must be used rather than Prince. Yeah. Anything on that? Agile do have a defined, do not have a, okay, Agile do not have an end date.
I've heard that, but Agile also has a roadmap, so you're still planning. So
yeah,
you still have goals and objectives.
it's more like a comment. Yeah, I think it's more like comment to say that yes, yeah, while other like Prince 2 and project management, waterfall, yes, most of the time you have defined date. Agile do have the date. You cannot have a blank check. You continue to work on the project for a program forever. Only thing is they're working toward a particular product or a particular benefit. Right. Another comment we have: the strategy developed should be short term, long term, 3 to 7 year profile. Yes. More comment. Yes. It depends how organization is taking. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever strategy they have. Anything on that?
No, I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Somebody's asking his education completion compliments what he has accomplished. So I think it's more comments from my other friend from Kyle. He was my student as well. He was talking. I think he's commenting when you were talking about the education. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you handle with a project manager who is not well performing within your program?
So, I'm in a matrixed organization at Microsoft. So if I had any performance issues that I felt needed to be addressed at all, I would address that at the appropriate times with that individual and, if appropriate, with the manager as well. And then the manager, again, being in a matrixed organization, would make decisions on next steps.
Yeah. All right. Jason mentioned that he wanted to increase the agile approach of life cycle, but agile is not suited to all projects. It all depends on what is being delivered. What's his view about this?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have a very solid delivery methodology for waterfall projects at Microsoft. We have a very good agile delivery methodology for agile projects at Microsoft. But it's certainly going to change, right? We are about to see PMBOK 7th edition come out here on, I think, March 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to drive changes in organizations across the world. And from what I'm understanding on the initial feedback of that new document or new book is you might start to see a touch of agile in every delivery. Again, that's just on one web clip that I saw. I'm yet to read the book. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, the final question. It's not final question from somebody. Ashok. It costs money every year to renew the certificate. That is, I'm an APM, and the change in charge a year is 175. Okay, on. I'm not keen to sign PMP and pay another lots of money, fee yearly. So yeah, money is there. And that thing comes for free. If you want to renew your certificate, you want to manage your certificate, and you want to stay ahead of a game with compared to other people, you need to see it's a value for money. If you are interested to stay ahead of game, you may have to pay some fees to gain benefit out of this. So anything on that?
Yeah, just life it's an investment, right? So if I can spend $60 to renew my certification, but it gets me a foot in the door to obtain a next promotion or a job, more aligned with what I want to do with my life, then maybe that $60 is well spent, right? Or I don't know the total cost, but it's step one of the standard of program management, right? Cost benefit analysis.
Exactly, cost benefit analysis. Okay, perfect. All right, so multitasking request experience, use key milestone, highlights the high level risk to chase. The other stuff will take care by itself. I think it's more on the comments, so let's not worry about it. Any website or book of course, you can go to my website with the vCareProjectManagement.com, and there are lots of books, Dr. Ginger, my book, and few other books for PgMP or PfMP. And you can contact me. I will be more than happy to guide you through the process. And what will be a good reference point for reading Agile Project Management? So there are lots of books available for Agile Project Management. I think you can start with PMI website. They have reference material, and also do Google. Or you can call me. We can discuss whether Scaled Agile will work better for you, or Disciplined Agile work for you, or ACP or something. So I think that's it. We had lots of questions, and we gone over time. Initially, we were struggling 15 minute loss because of that, but I think we recovered and we had a great session, and lots of questions. I'm still going through question after question. So Jason, thank you very much for patiently answering my questions, my audience questions. So it's good to know from a person like you, especially representing Microsoft. Actually, I was telling my wife, I'm going to have this webinar is Bill Gates. Then I said, Bill Gates representative. so you're kind of representing Bill Gates. So to me, you're representing Microsoft. So great to have a person like you on this webinar. And I'm sure people found lots of value from this. And they can always reach out to you, I'm sure. And I think there are lots of people from Microsoft join this webinar, so they can always reach out to you within their company. Okay. And also, if anybody looking for some guidance, direction, or some expert or training or something, of course, you can always reach out to me. If you're in doubt, start with a 15-minute free call with me, and I will guide you through and discuss what will work for you or not. It's actually 15 minutes, but generally go for half an hour, 1 hour. I don't stop. Anyway, so thank you everyone for staying even late. I know some people are very, very late, especially in Saudi or India. I can see you there. And of course, if the person is great and the speaker is great, you don't leave. So I like to wish everybody, stay safe and stay focused and continue to build your knowledge. And feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Jason, and hopefully sooner or later you will be one of the high performing program manager or portfolio manager. So any last minute comments, Jason?
No, thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you again for the coaching and mentorship, and teaming with me to get to this successful completion of the PgMP and PfMP.
I'm very, very honored to have you as my student and now my good friend. So I think it's a long journey, and I'm very happy. And there's so many questions came from lots of people. And if you have further questions, I can see some questions coming, but I think it's the time to wrap up. Please send them directly to me. I will be happy to help you with those questions. So with this, thank you all of you for staying late and listening to our discussion. And you will see more such programs coming up by end of this month. And keep an eye on our LinkedIn post or your email. You will find more and more discussion with more and more experts, industry experts. So with this, thank you all, and thanks Jason, and see you very, very soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.